Can I just say something about Andrea?
Hey, folks. It's been a little bit over a year since Matthew Farwell was charged with the murder of Sandra Birchmore in federal court over there in Massachusetts. And despite that, it's been quite a long time without really learning anything new about the case. The Farwell prosecution has been delayed repeatedly, which is a little bit unusual. And so there's been no real progress with the prosecution in any meaningful sense. So, because of that, I don't know if pleased is quite the right word, but at least gratified to see that we did potentially get access to a new source of information through the post commission's disciplinary hearings against former Deputy Chief of the Stoughton Police, Robert Devine. You may remember from Sandra Birchmore's story that Robert Devine was the police officer who created and ran the Youth Explorer program, the one that Sandra joined when she was 12 years old. And that's the program that allowed Matthew Farwell, his brother, other police officers as well, to have access to her and, as it's alleged, to groom her, abuse her, and ultimately leading up to Matthew Farwell's being accused of killing her in his apartment after she told him that she was pregnant with his child. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and watch these hearings. There's 5 of them. It is a fair amount of time this is going to take, and so I'm not doing this live because the hearings aren't live. They already happened. So I'm going to watch them back, and as I see things worth paying attention to or commenting on, I'll probably stop and pause and talk a little bit about what it is that we see. But the goal here is to find out what, if anything, we can about not just Sandra Birchmore and that story, but the deeper story of corruption in the law enforcement in this particular region of Massachusetts that seems to be a theme in so many of the cases coming from that area right now, whether it's Karen Reed, whether it's Brian Walsh, or whether it's Sandra Birchmore. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and turn to the hearing and take a look at what's going on.
Throughout this hearing, the division intends to prove 2 things: that the respondent engaged in a pattern of unprofessional police misconduct that may escalate, and that he has repeated internal affairs complaints that were sustained throughout his career. Under the statutes, it's allowed that these be for the same or different offenses. Ultimately, if the division proves its case and if any discipline to the respondent would be discretionary. According to the statutes, if the division proves that the respondent engaged in this conduct, the commission may suspend or decertify the respondent. The division will be recommending that the commission decertify Robert Devine and add him to the National Decertification Index as a result of this decertification.
So let's talk about this real quick. This is dealing with his certification to serve as a law enforcement officer. Now, Robert Devine retired from law enforcement, like so many of these officers did retire before things could blow up. There's Brian Albert. There's what's his name? The guy at the Canton Police Department, the one who was friends with Higgins, the chief over there, Chief Berkowitz. Now Robert Devine as well. However, my understanding is that he's continuing to contest this issue, not necessarily because he wants to continue serving as a law enforcement officer either in Massachusetts or anywhere in the country, which, as they just indicated, that's one of the potential consequences here. They're asking for him to be decertified, not just for Massachusetts, but also put in a national database of law enforcement officers that are decertified. And so that would presumably prevent him from being able to work as a law enforcement officer in other jurisdictions as well. But mainly that he wants to clear his name. So in that sense, sometimes, you got to be careful what you wish for with these types of situations, because we're now going to have an extended hearing on why this commission thinks he should be decertified. They have to show, as they said, they have to show a pattern of misconduct, egregious law enforcement behavior that's contrary to their policies and their laws and so forth, and also that there have been multiple allegations against him that were justified. So it's a little bit of a Streisand effect kind of problem. We're going to see what comes out, but as we're watching this, it's one of the things I'm going to be bearing in mind, that we wouldn't be seeing any of this if he just went, fine, I'm not serving as a law enforcement officer anyway, and I don't care to serve as a law enforcement officer, so go ahead and decertify me. It made a public issue out of it. And so now whatever the skeletons in the closet are, we're all going to know. Well, with that, let's see what they are.
The division is confident that the evidence will show that decertification is the only appropriate remedy here. Mr. Devine has a pattern of untruthfulness, abuse of power, and unprofessional conduct during his time as an officer. And given the gravity of misconduct, it's likely that it would escalate. His personal affairs have affected his ability to work on several occasions and have undoubtedly reflected poorly on the police profession. To give a little background, as you'll hear today, Officer Devine was with the Stoughton Police Department for approximately 20 years. For the first 15 years or so, there was no discipline, and in fact, by all reports, Mr. Devine was very successful at the Stoughton Police Department. He rose from patrolman all the way to deputy chief, which, as you'll hear, is the second rank in command at the Stoughton Police Department. He was involved in several community projects, among which are the Police Explorers program, which you may learn a little about, and a substance abuse program, which Mr. Devine helped found. However, his reputation changed dramatically in 2015, and this is reflected in Exhibit 3, the Internal Affairs Investigative Report that's already in evidence. There were several sustained IA charges against Mr. Devine as a result of that investigation, among which are conflict of interest, abuse of position, conduct unbecoming, and untruthfulness. Although I won't get too far into the details during the opening because the evidence speaks for itself. Essentially, when Mr. Devine, as is reflected in the report, was involved in an extramarital affair, it began to impact his professional career. There was a time at which, when he tried to break off this affair, that the other individual involved began to electronically harass him. And it got to the point that he thought that there should be some sort of police intervention. Unfortunately, as deputy chief, he had ordered one of his subordinates to investigate his own personal affairs.
Yeah, that's going to be a conflict of interest problem. No question about that. You do not get to use your police subordinates as your personal bodyguards. You don't get to do that. You don't get to sick them on people. Even if there has been a crime been committed, even if there is some reason to suspect them, this is a terrible look. This is not what law enforcement is for, and so you need to have some kind of special investigator appointed, or you need to recuse yourself in your office, like we saw in the Canton Police Department. Right? When exactly, it's not clear, but they recused themselves from the investigation of John O'Keefe's death because of Brian Albert's brother being on the force. Those kinds of personal relationships, there's a risk that they can skew your judgment, but that's going to be even more exacerbated in a situation where your boss is asking you, go out and take care of this problem I'm having with this stalker who's going to out me to my wife over our affair. You got a problem with the incentives that subordinate has. to come up with something to, play a little fast and loose with the rules. Oh, it's not a good situation to be doing that. So, yikes.
He even asked that individual to use Stoughton Police Department's resources to conduct a forensic analysis on his electronic devices. He further, again, with this conflict of interest and abuse of power, ordered this person to investigate where flowers had come from that were sent to his wife. And he even contacted a
Redacted. Part of this, I guess, we don't get to hear.
even on the date where the state police were conducting a search warrant on the woman's home to collect her electronic devices and to arrest her, Mr. Devine received a call from her and spoke with her as the state police were at her door. He spoke with her on the night before. Despite the fact that he had an ongoing not only contact but also sexual conduct with this woman for several weeks during the criminal investigation, Mr. Devine did not bring this to the attention of anyone involved.
Wait, he's continuing to sleep with her? Is that what he just said? The cop is complaining that she's like cyber harassing him, but he's still sleeping with her while he's investigating her and using department resources to what exactly? Try to throw her in jail? This is ugly. This is ugly.
It eventually resulted in the arrest of this woman, and despite that he had this ongoing relationship and that he was a deputy chief, he allowed this woman to continue to. And there were several sustained findings as a result. Ultimately, the criminal case was dismissed after a few months. This resulted in the demotion to patrol officer from deputy chief and a 60-day suspension. On his return to duty, he was assigned to the desk for a long period of time, but he was eventually allowed to go back on patrol. Although there was a slight incident involving one of his children, leading a note to, at that time, Deputy Chief Holmes. Other than that small minor incident, Mr. Devine for the next few years did not have any instances of discipline. However, what ultimately led us to this hearing is that, again, in 2020, Mr. Devine allowed his personal life to get in the way of his professional life, and that's through his involvement with SB. As the court
You know who SB is?
undoubtedly knows at this point, on February 1st of 2021, as is alleged in the federal indictment, SB died, and allegedly it was due to being murdered by Matthew Farwell, who was a Stoughton police detective at the time of the alleged murder. At that time, as you'll hear through the evidence today, the Stoughton Police Department within a few days was contacted by the state police because the state police had learned of SB's involvement with Matthew Farwell. They almost immediately initiated an internal affairs investigation of Matthew Farwell, and Deputy Chief Holmes, who you'll hear today, was assigned. The initial scope of the internal affairs investigation was only to cover Matthew Farwell's misconduct. It was not until several months later that it was alleged that multiple other Stoughton Police Department officers were involved in sexual misconduct with SB. Ultimately, after the IA investigation, and we'll go through some of the evidence later, it was determined that Mr. Devine was in contact with SB through an alias in Facebook Messenger, and the alias is Marty Riggs, a character in a Lethal Weapon movie, which is a police action movie. Marty Riggs had been communicating with the SB in the months preceding her death, and as alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office, even contacted her on the date of her death on the same afternoon.
I don't think I knew that. I don't think I knew that he contacted her on the day of her death. I don't remember that being in the indictment. Maybe it was. So Initially, the investigation, the internal affairs investigation, was supposed to be limited to Matthew Farwell, but then they expanded the scope. I wonder who set what the scope was. It sounds like we're going to hear from the IA officer, and so I hope they give us that information, because if it's this guy who said we're going to do an IA investigation, but only about Matthew Farwell, yeah, that's going to be some big red flags. That's going to be some big red flags. And again, because this isn't just about, what did he himself do vis-a-vis Sandra Birchmore, but what did he know, and how deep did this run, and what kind of efforts were taken to just keep it all swept under the rug? It's kind of been the $1 million question in the Sandra Birchmore case from day one.
Based on the content and the context of these messages, the evidence reflects that Mr. Devine is in fact the alias Marty Riggs. As you'll see in Exhibit 8, which is a screen capture of the cell phone data that was extracted from SB's cell phone, plain as day, that alone should be enough to show that Marty Riggs is Robert Devine. However, based on several of the content of these messages, as you'll see, as is included in the IA report and the exhibits already admitted at this hearing, there are several indicators that Mr. Devine is in fact Marty Riggs, the most important of which is on the date he is admitted, as is reflected in Exhibit in Exhibit 5 that's already in evidence, that is in fact his date as is reported on the BBO website.
So I'm not sure why some of this information is being redacted. It's possible that it's because it relates to the federal investigation. We saw a lot of that, of course, with the Karen Reed case, that the federal grand jury materials, we were sort of limited in what we got to see and what we got to hear about, and so forth. Certainly, if they're talking about an extraction of Sandra Birchmore's phone, I mean, I would expect that to be in the possession of the feds. Of course, I would have expected that to be in the possession of the the local police who originally investigated it, which, if I recall correctly, was the Canton police. But yeah, I'm not sure why it's being redacted, and so why we're not going to seemingly get to learn exactly how they know that Robert Devine was Marty Riggs. Hopefully we'll get to get at least some inkling of what that link is based on.
The fact of his sexual relationship with SB is not enough to amount to police misconduct. The division admits that. To the division's knowledge, those sexual interactions occurred when Mr. Devine was an adult, when SB was an adult. Although it is questionable that he developed a sexual relationship with somebody that he met as a teenager and was a mentor to as a teenager, that alone, when they're two consenting adults, is not enough to amount to misconduct. However, the issue of misconduct comes to a head when you recognize some of the content of these messages. SB met him for a sexual encounter, as is reflected in the messages, while he's on duty on one occasion. He arranged for that sexual encounter and also engaged in the sexual encounter while on duty, and that's reflected in the messages.
So the grooming her isn't a problem, right? I guess that's probably a little difficult to prove at this point in time. It's inappropriate, but they're consenting adults, so not inherently illegal. But doing it on duty, yeah, that's going to be a problem when you're it's not what we had in mind with protecting and serving, to be arranging your booty calls with the teenager that you groomed in the Explorer program. So from what I'm hearing here, it sounds like the total basis here are these two kind of separate incidents. The one in 2015 where he was seemingly, I guess, trying to cover up the affair that he had, and used his subordinates in the Stoughton Police Department as his personal enforcers to go in and investigate her and have her arrested while he was continuing to engage in the relationship with her. And then in 2020, when it came to light about his interactions with Sandra Birchmore, and in and of themselves, the fact that he ran the Explorer program that she participated in isn't the problem, but the fact that he's then arranging booty calls with her while he is on duty. And so for these reasons, they think he should be decertified as an officer. Can't say I disagree with that. I can't say I disagree with that. Dishonesty, yeah. Abuse of power, yeah. Conduct unbecoming, yeah. So let's see what they got.
Additionally, when confronted in the internal affairs investigation interview, Mr. Devine claims that he never had any electronic contact with SB and that he never had any sexual contact with SB.
So he lied. Yeah, that's going to be, for me, that's like a hard line. Okay, that's a hard line. Yes, you should be decertified as a law enforcement officer. If you're caught lying, you are entrusted with too much power by we the people of the state to justify hanging on to a shred of that. When you lie, when you use your power in your position and you lie, no, you do not deserve the authority and the responsibility and the trust that comes with wearing a badge if you lie.
The division's position is that the evidence overwhelmingly supports that these statements are untrue. Now, the 2021 IA investigation resulted in multiple sustained findings as well. Incompetence due to these messages and the sexual conduct while on duty. Untruthfulness about the extent of his relationship with SB, and attention and devotion to duty, again, due to the messages and sexual conduct while on duty. As the division will submit at the conclusion of this hearing, the sustained IA findings in 2015 and in 2021 amount to repeated internal affairs complaints for the same, or sustained internal affairs complaints for the same, for different offenses, and his conduct both throughout the 2015 investigation and the 2020 and 2021 investigation that amount to a pattern of unprofessional police conduct that may escalate. Throughout this hearing, I expect the respondent will make several claims that are not supported by the evidence. One of which is that the IA investigators were biased against him. When now Chief Holmes was assigned, it's true that at one point, Mr. Devine and now Chief Holmes had a personal relationship, but in no way did that personal relationship detract from his ability to maintain this investigation and conduct this investigation. In fact, Mr. Devine was not even involved for the approximate first year of the investigation. And when he did become involved, there were already independent investigators who were helping now Chief Holmes out with the investigation. And those independent investigators were the ones who interviewed Mr. Devine. Additionally, I'm
going to pause that for a second, just because it sounds like what they're saying is that Holmes was biased. Holmes wasn't. He wasn't impartial because he had a prior personal relationship with Mr. Devine. If they were like friends, it seems that the bias would be going in the favor of Mr. Devine, not the other way around, right? There's no like inherent structural bias that suggests you're going to be unfair to your friends. It's like quite the opposite. You would think if this person is investigating their friend, there's a risk they might bend over backwards to, I don't know, not go in the house, not look for any search warrants, not ask any hard questions, things like that. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to be attempted to be translated into some kind of bias against Mr. Devine. I guess we'll see.
Chief Holmes's findings in the internal affairs investigation are founded in the evidence and founded in the documentary evidence. They're not based on his bias against Mr. Devine. They're based in the evidence, including those Marty Riggs messages. You'll also hear claims that his accounts were hacked and that this is the reason why this person, Marty Riggs, is claiming to be himself. He's claiming that it's somebody posing to be him. And in fact, in his written statement in Exhibit 7, he even makes claims so far as to claim that SB may be involved in this because she's out to get him to get back at his wife. These are outlandish claims, as Mr. Holmes correctly cites in his IA investigation, and that's because just given the context, given the fact that these individuals, Marty Riggs and SB, were interacting over the phone, on video, meeting in person, the fact that somebody is claiming to be Mr. Devine, who SB knew for several years, is outlandish. At the conclusion of the hearing, as I mentioned, we'll ask you to find that Mr. Devine has repeated sustained internal affairs complaints and a pattern of unprofessional police misconduct that may escalate, and the evidence will support a finding of those two charges, and also, as a result of the evidence and the severity of Mr. Devine's misconduct, the only just outcome here would be decertification. Thank you.
Thank you. Still, do you want to make an opening now?
Judge, to the extent of that opening, I just want to address the 2015 matter. Mr. Devine was brought up under the investigation of 2015 involving a time in his life that was troubling for him. He and his wife had separated. He had a girlfriend during that time frame. They had a falling out. He received flowers with threatening notes. She wouldn't leave him. She wouldn't leave him alone. And he basically took it upon himself. Didn't want to get her in trouble. He was trying to find out, trying to get her stopped. He took it upon himself to ask people in his department to help him with that. It ended up being an internal investigation, and he agreed with it. There's a memorandum of agreement between the town of Stoughton and Robert Devine that he signed, and is part of the exhibit.
This is a little bit hard to understand, but the sound isn't very good, and this guy's accent is a little bit harder for me to to hear, to translate through the bad audio. But it sounds like he's saying he doesn't disagree with the IA finding in 2015. What a story, right? What a story. Not just once, but twice it's happened to this guy, that he's just so irresistible that they hack him and stalk him and come after him and do all these terrible things. Must be hard. Must be hard to live like that, having to constantly fight off the women that you're sleeping with. But so it sounds like he's saying he's not disagreeing with that finding. It's going to be the one related to Sandra Birchmore, the 2021 one that he particularly disputes. And so that would then undermine there being a pattern of misconduct of two or more incidents. If it's only one, I guess he doesn't get decertified. It's a bold strategy. Let's see how it goes.
Didn't run away from it. He owned up to it. Here I am. I did it. I took my loss. And since we're here for today, however, in addition to that, that is the 2020 matter, is very different. Where he's denying it. And the evidence will show you that there's a bigger lie that's being played out here. The investigating officer is trying to present a lie that's been perpetrated by SB at the behest or at the encouragement of William Farwell. And that will bear out in the evidence that the division is going to present. The lie is there. It's glaring, but nobody's seen it.
Did he just say that Matt Farwell did it? It wasn't him that's Marty Riggs, it's Matt Farwell that's Marty Riggs. It sounded like from what the prosecutor guy here, the commission guy, is saying that they got multiple forms of communication. And so if they got like video chats, numbers, their personal like SMS text messages back and forth from their personal numbers, if there's stuff like that, I don't know how you're going to blame that on Matthew Farwell. Unless I guess it's just all innocent. He's still mentoring her. Oh, brother. All right. Well, let's bring it.
I'll leave it at that, Your Honor.
Right, thank you. All right, so Martinez, ready to call your first witness?
Same. The division calls Donna McNamara.
Donna McNamara, I think is what I heard.
And raise your right hand, please. Okay, folks, state your name.
Donna McNamara.
Okay. McNamara, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Yes, sir.
Proceeding?
Sorry, I should mention this before you begin your questions. Can I just remind you that when referencing any of the individuals, minors or alleged victims, to please use initials. We would like to maintain confidentiality and protect the information.
That's fair, but we all know, so it seems a little bit performative. You already referred to the indictment of Matthew Farwell, and we know what that's about. But whatever, do your thing, use your initials. It's fine.
And that's minor individuals, is that what you said? Or alleged victims.
And by the way, I should add, are you aware that there are protective orders entered in connection with these proceedings?
Yes.
Okay, and you understand that you're governed by them as well, what you've heard or seen in the course of these proceedings as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
One,
What's your current position?
I am the police chief of the Stoughton Police Department
How long have you been with the Stoughton Police Department?
since 2001.
Is that when you graduated from the academy?
Yes.
And do you mind just briefly going through your rise through the police department, what ranks you held and any special positions that you held?
I was hired as a police officer, went through the police academy in 2001. I held that position for a number of years before becoming a detective. And then I was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2013. In 2015, I was promoted to lieutenant. In 2016, approximately March 5th of 2016, I was appointed acting police chief. I held that position in the acting until I was promoted permanently in January of 2017.
So you've been chief now for a little over 8 years.
Yes.
Are there any ranks in between lieutenant and chief at the Stoughton Police Department?
Yes, there is a deputy chief position.
Are there any captains?
No.
How many deputy chiefs are there currently?
2.
When you were promoted to chief, were there any deputy chiefs who are currently sitting in that position?
No.
At the Stoughton Police Department, approximately how many officers are there?
There are currently approximately 42 patrol officers, 9 sergeants.
Given the size of the Stoughton Police Department, do you have a separate internal affairs investigation unit?
Yes,
And generally, who conducts the internal affairs investigations?
Deputy Chief.
Does the deputy chief ever enlist the help of other ranking officers?
At times it's possible.
Is that at his discretion or your discretion when he does so?
I would be determined by me ultimately. The deputy chief position runs the internal affairs unit. Briefings are, weekly on any investigation. But assignments as far as initiating internal affairs investigations by me. But we have lieutenants that can and have been trained and can do internal affairs investigations as well as the detective side.
But generally speaking, the deputy chief is the one who conducts the investigation and drafts the ultimate findings.
Predominantly, yes.
Do you then review those findings and confirm them?
Yes.
Do you know Brian Holmes?
Yes.
And how do you know him?
From my employment with the Stoughton Police Department.
Do you know what his current position is?
He is a police chief in the town of Kingston.
Approximately what year did you first meet now Chief Holmes?
2001.
And what's your relationship like with him?
Co-workers for a number of years. We started together, I believe it was 2003 when I worked the same shift as him for a number of years. We were training partners. We were instructors in courses through the MPTC and within the police department. And then I hired him as the deputy chief.
When you were promoted to chief, what was his position?
Sergeant.
How soon after you were promoted to chief did you then promote Chief Holmes to deputy chief?
I believe it was June of 2017 he was hired as deputy chief.
When he was hired as deputy chief, was that a vacant seat?
Yes.
Who was the previous holder of that seat?
Robert Devine.
Approximately how long was the seat vacant before Chief Holmes was promoted?
There was no one, when I was appointed acting chief, there was no one in the position. And because I was in an acting role, the town manager would not appoint a deputy chief until there was a permanent chief appointed.
In his role as deputy chief, did Chief Holmes conduct internal affairs investigations?
Yes.
Do you have any idea approximately how many per year he would do?
It varied from year to year. I don't have the numbers for each year.
Okay. And how long did he serve as deputy chief?
Until 2024. I think it was April of 2024.
Do you also know Robert Devine?
Yes.
How long have you known Robert Devine?
Since 2001.
And is it fair to say that he attended the academy at the same time as Chief Holmes?
I believe so, yes.
And when you were at the Stoughton Police Department, what was your relationship with Mr. Devine?
When I first started, he was a patrol officer and then rose through the ranks, and then he was my supervisor for a number of years. And then in 2016, when I became the acting chief, there was a process where he was demoted from deputy chief to patrol officer. And when he was coming back into the department, I was the acting chief.
And is that the result of an internal affairs investigation that occurred in 2015?
Yes.
Do you know how that case was ultimately resolved with discipline? Was it after a hearing or an agreement?
There was an agreement in place with the town manager.
And what was the extent of the discipline in public?
There was a lengthy suspension and a demotion from deputy chief to patrol officer.
When Mr. Devine returned to patrol officer, were you already the chief?
I was the acting chief.
Did you have a discussion with Mr. Devine when he returned to duty?
Yes.
How did that discussion go?
It was in the chief's office, and it was a discussion about putting him on a shift where we had a vacancy, bringing him back in and giving him his patrol officer badge. He was unhappy about being in the position that he was in. He didn't want to be in the department, but he needed to be there in order put a roof over his family's head.
Are you aware of any discipline that Mr. Devine had prior to 2015?
No,
Is it fair to say that he was also involved in some more community-oriented projects when he prior to 2015?
yes,
Is one of those the Police Explorers?
yes.
Do you mind explaining what the Police Explorers is?
It was a youth program that was run by Robert Devine that was a paramilitary. They exercised in the beginning of the day of the classes, and then he held classes for various types of police oriented classes.
Was he the head of that program for a long period?
Yes,
Approximately how long? Do you have any idea?
it was the early 2000s. He took over the program and turned it into the paramilitary type of program. And then he stopped running the program. 2015, another lieutenant was appointed to the position.
Are you also familiar with a program called Oasis?
Yes,
Was Mr. Devine involved in that?
yes.
And what is Oasis?
It's a drug prevention program that was started by members of the town as well as citizens and employees of the town.
Did Mr. Devine also participate in that program?
Yes,
When did he stop participating in that program initially?
initially, I'm not sure.
Is it fair to say that when he returned to duty, initially he was not allowed to participate in Oasis?
Yes,
Was there a time when he later, even after returning to duty in 2016, that he again began to participate in Oasis?
I don't believe it was 2016, but it was after 2016 when he returned to his patrol officer position.
Did you speak with anyone else about Mr. Devine returning to Oasis?
Yes, Brian Holmes.
And what did Chief Holmes tell you about Mr. Devine and his participation in Oasis?
Well, he had advocated for him to be able to participate in the program again as a member of the police department, since he was a founding member of the Oasis program.
Did you heed Chief Holmes' recommendation?
Yes, I did.
Do you know anything about the personal relationship between Mr. Devine and Chief Holmes?
They were very friendly, like we all were in the early years of our careers. Attended, department functions, weddings, I guess.
To your knowledge, was there ever a falling out between Chief Holmes and Mr. Devine?
Yes, I believe it was after the 2015 investigation.
To your knowledge, did that ever carry over into the work environment?
Objection. Respectfully.
Well, if you know. Not what you've heard, if you know from personal.
Not that I've personally seen.
So are you aware of any arguments that occurred, anything like that? Or excuse me, did you observe any arguments that occurred?
No.
Are you familiar, if I use the initials SD, are you familiar with an individual who was a participant in the Police Explorers program at one point?
Yes,
Did you personally know SD before her death?
yes.
And how did you know her?
And she was a participant in the Explorer program. They used the police station. I was here sometimes in the locker room, and within the building. I may or may not, I'm not sure if I ever taught a class with her as an Explorer.
Did you ever interact with her personally, or was it only in your capacity at the police department?
It was only in my capacity in the police department.
In early 2020, or excuse me, in February 2021, did you become aware of SB's death?
Yes.
How did you become aware of it?
There was a well-being check initially through our department, and then ultimately the well-being check went to the town of Canton. And after that, we talked about in the station. After the well-being check was conducted, and the chiefs found deceased.
After that, after you learned of the death of SB, did there come a time when the Stoughton Police Department became involved in an internal affairs investigation related to her death?
Yes,
How soon after her death did you first become aware of potential misconduct by police officers?
it was after the then Sergeant Fanning contacted me and informed me that there was a member of my department that he had interviewed.
What agency is Sergeant Fanning from?
The Mass State Police.
Were the state police at that time in charge of the death investigation?
Yes,
Initially, what did Sergeant Fanning tell you?
he informed me that Matthew Farwell and SB were involved in a sexual relationship and that he had interviewed him regarding her death.
How soon after her death did that occur that you found out?
That phone call was, I believe, on February 6th.
February 6th. So they knew right away. They knew right away. They knew from the get-go. That's what was going on. And so how did they know? Because I thought there was supposed to be some issue with, like, you know, they couldn't access any of the text messages. And then somehow the feds were able to access like 30,000 text messages between them or something like that. That's that the state investigation had just overlooked somehow, had just missed. They knew within days that there was something going on here, and he'd interviewed Matt Farwell about her death. Okay. See what we get to hear.
It's fair to say that's within a week of her death.
Yes,
Who did you assign to the internal affairs investigation?
Deputy Chief Brian Holmes.
When Deputy Chief Holmes was initially assigned, was it understood that the only misconduct alleged at that point was in relation to Matthew Farwell?
Yes,
And what was your role in the eventual internal affairs investigation?
the investigation was conducted by Deputy Chief Holmes. My role during that time was he would report to me updates on the case. We ended up hiring additional investigators. Any updates that needed to go to the town manager, I would be involved in.
You mentioned you hired other investigators. Does that mean that they were outside of the Stoughton Police Department?
Yes,
And were they independent investigators?
yes,
Do you know if they had any law enforcement experience?
yes, they did.
How many investigators?
There was additionally 3.
Did all have the same agency background?
Yes,
And where did they work when they were in law enforcement?
Massachusetts State Police.
So these 3 investigators supported Holmes in his internal affairs investigation.
Yes,
When they were hired, what was the purpose of hiring those 3?
the sheer volume of information that we were informed that we would be getting was too difficult for one person to accomplish all the work that needed to be done.
And is that
Sheer volume of information. The sheer volume of information meant they need to bring on three new ex-cops. The sheer volume of information that to this day has the Canton Police Department, the Canton, the Norfolk County District Attorney contending that this was just a suicide. This was just a suicide. And all this other sheer volume of information is totally unrelated, I guess.
that because there was eventually cell phone and laptop data from SB's devices?
Yes,
And is it fair to say that it contained her personal correspondence?
yes.
Later on in the internal affairs investigation, did any other alleged misconduct of officers become the subject of that investigation?
Yes,
And which officers were those?
William Farwell and Robert Devine.
Do you know how long into or how far into the investigation it was before these individuals became the subjects?
It was in April of 2022.
So, over a year after SB had died.
Yes,
And during that time, although perhaps intermittently, was the investigation active?
yes,
Despite Chief Holmes's relationship with Mr. Devine, was there ever concern that he may have been biased in his investigation?
Objection.
A concern on this witness's part, you asking?
Yes, correct.
I'll allow it.
no,
At the conclusion of the IA investigation, did you review the findings?
yes,
Did you believe those findings were supported by the evidence?
yes,
And that includes documentary evidence such as SB's communications?
yes,
And did you agree with Chief Holmes's findings?
yes.
Ultimately, excuse me, at the time the investigation concluded, were any of the subject officers still employed with the Stoughton Police Department?
No,
What happened with Matthew Farwell,
he resigned,
William Farwell,
he resigned,
and Robert Devine?
he resigned to retire.
Along with Mr. Devine's retirement, did he give any reasons for his retirement?
Retiring. He retired. That means he gets a pension. I suspect that means he gets a pension. If he started in 2001 and this is April 2022, he had 20 years in. Does this guy get a pension? Pretty sure he does. Pretty sure he does. He retired before the investigation was concluded. Convenient.
He wrote a letter. I have not read the letter in a significant amount of time.
Had Mr. Devine been employed by Stoughton Police Department at the conclusion of the IA, would you have recommended discipline?
Yes,
What would you have recommended?
a termination.
Did you later make a recommendation to the Post Commission as to Mr. Devine's law enforcement certification?
Yes,
What was your recommendation?
to decertify Robert Devine
And why is that?
for the findings within the internal affairs report and his prior findings and his prior internal affairs investigation.
I have nothing further for this witness.
All right, cross-examination.
Sure. Chief, talk briefly about the 2015 investigation into Mr. Devine. Is that correct?
I
The 2015 investigation into internal affairs investigation into Mr. Devine.
yes, there was.
And in that case, is it your understanding that Mr. Devine had had a separation with his wife then?
I did not know that.
You didn't know that? It's not referred in the records. Did you review the records?
I haven't read that report now
And
in a number of years.
Mr. Devine entered into an agreement with the town. Is that correct?
With the town manager, yes,
So who is the appointing authority for the police department?
the town manager.
Town manager. So does the town manager control your job?
I answer to the town manager, but I am hired by the select board.
And can the select board terminate your position?
Yes,
And this whole SB scandal, it's a scandal within the department. Is that fair to say?
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain the objection.
Have you gotten a lot of media attention because of this event involving SB's death?
Objection.
All
Overruled.
the SB stuff.
Yes.
This guy isn't making a great impression already. All this SB stuff. All this SB stuff. The murder of this girl. Murder. That's what it is. The minimizing already, the trivializing all this SB stuff. Let's just turn it into a salacious type of thing that's not really worthy of public attention. It's just some drama. Just some drama. I don't like this at all where this is going. I don't think I'm going to like this lawyer very much.
You gave a press conference, didn't you?
yes,
You tried to defend the department. Is that correct?
I read a statement, yes.
And in that statement, did you reference Mr. Devine?
Yes, I did.
And what did you say about Mr. Devine?
I don't have the statement on me.
Can you recall what you said?
Not word for word, no.
Wasn't very favorable to Mr. Devine, was it?
It was statements from the internal affairs investigation.
You wanted Mr. Devine gone, correct?
I thought he should be terminated if he was hired, yes.
And you
Still hired with
wanted,
the department.
I'm sorry, you wanted Matthew Farwell to be terminated, correct?
If he was still employed with the town, yes.
And you wanted William Farwell terminated, correct?
Yes.
And you wanted to clean house in the Stoughton Police Department, right? Want to make sure there were no more problems.
Objection.
Overruled.
I was referring to the internal affairs investigation and those that were investigated for that.
Clean house. You wanted to clean house. No, sir, I wanted a sloppy house. I wanted a shithole trap house. Okay, full of loser crackhead cops. That's what I wanted. What even kind of question is that? They found all of these officers grooming this 12-year-old girl. What would you have her do? Chuckle, yuck it up. Boys will be boys. Ugh, this is gross. Clean house. Yeah, I should hope she wanted to clean house because that's some dirty shit. Nobody wants that in their house.
Well, you,
Chief, can you keep your voice up a little bit? I'm
Yes, sir.
losing the end of your answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
well, you were concerned for your own job too, weren't you?
Weren't ya?
No.
No? How much do you make a year?
Objection.
How's that relevant?
It's bias, Judge. She's targeting people within the departments.
How much do you make? This guy is a piece of work. Oh, this is going to be a long hearing. This is going to be a long hearing. I don't know how this guy thinks this is going to be helpful. How much do you make? Let's go in and be an asshole to all the cops at the cop hearing. Maybe it's just vengeance, payback. I don't know, but that's not going to go over well.
Such as Mr. Devine, to protect her own job. And I just want to get out what's her job worth.
All right, I'm going to allow it.
This year, I believe it was $106,000 on the
Okay.
books this past year.
And you've been a police officer your whole life, right?
I'm sorry. 206,000.
206,000.
206.
And you've been a police officer your whole life?
No.
Well, I'm sorry, since 2001 or after graduation?
Yes, since 2001.
20 plus years, right?
Yes.
Looking forward to a pension?
Objection. It has to form, but also relevance.
Well, it's cross on the issue of bias all out. Are you looking forward to a pension?
At some point in life, yes.
And that's based on your salary, right?
Yes.
So if you get demoted at some point, your pension could go down. Right?
I believe it is based on your 3 highest years of your employment.
But if the town is unhappy with your performance, do they have the option to recall you or have you removed from your department head position?
Yes, I'm under contract.
So you have a personal interest in getting rid of the people who make your department look bad to the public, correct?
I have a personal interest in being the police chief and holding people accountable within the organization.
You have an interest in keeping your job, and that interest would be accomplished by quelling any problems within your department. Is that true?
Objection has been answered.
It's the same.
Now,
That little so didn't work so well. It didn't work so well. She handled that extremely well. That's your framing. Let me just go ahead and reframe that for you. So it would be in your interest then to go out and fire a bunch of officers who are making your department look bad. Well, I mean, yeah, kind of, but it's also in the interest in the department to do that. So it's my interest in keeping people accountable within the department. Yeah, great way to put it. Great way to put it. hey, if their lack of accountability is making the department look bad, then her interest in her job and in doing a good job is in alignment with the interests of the department as a whole.
You had other Roberts in the department, is that correct?
Yes,
You had a Robert Welsh, right?
previously, yes, not currently.
Not currently. Back in 2001, was Robert Welsh working for the department?
No, he was not.
Where was he?
He had retired.
I'm sorry, 2021.
Correct, in 2021.
Robert Latendre,
Yes,
he was working there?
yes,
And Robert Kuhn, is he working there?
yes,
Now, Chief, you talked briefly about your background, and you've had a course in how to conduct internal investigations, is that correct?
yes, sir.
And as part of the course, you're instructed to include all relevant evidence about alleged violations being considered, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And additionally, you instructed to include evidence that does not support your conclusion and explain why it didn't affect your result. Is that right?
I don't know what you're referring to, and what instruction.
Well, that's when you betrayed it. So you should put information in your report that's relevant to the alleged violation. That is, that the person did something wrong. You're also required, are you not, to put in information that does not support that there was a violation.
Okay, yes,
It's supposed to be unbiased, right? You're supposed to be neutral, like a judge, correct?
yes,
And that you're instructed that you had a conflict of interest during an investigation, that you should recuse yourself from the investigation, right?
yes,
Now, you just testified that you were aware of a falling out with Deputy Chief Holmes and Mr. Devine somewhere around 2015. Is that correct?
yes,
And in fact, Deputy Chief Holmes took over Mr. Devine's job after 2015, after he was demoted, right?
a number of years later, yes,
I couldn't hear that answer.
a number of years later.
Number.
Yeah. And you testified no one was in that position as Deputy Chief during the time that Mr. Devine was removed and Deputy Chief Holmes was appointed?
Yes,
What about Dan McGowan? Was he in there?
no, he was not.
Dan McGowan was the acting Deputy Chief?
He was appointed the acting deputy chief by Chief Shastany, and Chief Shastany didn't have the authority to appoint that position.
The town had to do it.
Town manager, the appointing authority does.
And does the town manager, appointing authority, also have the ability to terminate the Deputy Chief Holmes if they so chose?
Yes,
Now, the falling out, what was your understanding as to the falling out that was after 2015 between Mr. Holmes and Mr. Devine?
as a result of the investigation and things that came out of the investigation, I believe that Brian Holmes is very strict feelings about adultery, and that is in my understanding how he felt about the allegations in that investigation.
So, Deputy Chief Holmes didn't like Mr. Devine because Mr. Devine had an extramarital affair, even though he was separated from his wife?
He chose not to talk to him with regards to personal feelings, is the way I understand it.
Well, what about the incident with Mr. Devine's 8-year-old daughter? Do you recall that?
If you could explain a little more.
Do you
sir.
recall shortly after Mr. Devine's reinstatement, his daughter was there. And his daughter was in the station and she was coloring crayons, 8-year-olds, until Mr. Devine was finished work. Recall that incident?
Yes, no, I do. Yes,
So, Mr. Devine was at that point, he wasn't even a road officer, he was a dispatcher, right?
Right, he was a patrol officer assigned to the desk.
Okay, the the desk is what?
Answer phone calls, walk-ins, dispatch cruisers, answer 911 calls,
So a former
assigned to
deputy,
the station.
so
The
he came
secretary.
back to the position with the Stoughton Police Department. You assigned him as a road officer, right? Yes. But put him behind the desk.
He was assigned to the patrol officer, as a patrol officer on the day shift.
But instead of being a patrol officer, he was put behind the desk, right?
That is the position.
Isn't a patrol officer go on patrol?
They do that as well, yes.
Mr. Devine couldn't do that, right?
Yes, he did, eventually.
Eventually. Now, on one of those occasions, his daughter came in, and his daughter was present in the in the police station, right?
That is my understanding, yes.
And his daughter, an 8-year-old daughter, ran on some crayons, and said a word, or wrote the word revenge on a piece of paper in crayon.
I believe so.
And instead of trying to resolve the issue, it became a full-blown internal affairs investigation.
The daughter wrote the word revenge on a piece of paper in a crayon, and it became a whole IA investigation. Okay, there's a lot more to this story. It doesn't sound like she knows, like, personally, a lot of these details. There's just, I guess, a report about it or something. Daughter's crayons led to an IA investigation. And you're calling Sandra Birchmore stuff, some crayon stuff.
Right?
I don't recall if there was a full-blown.
Well, there was an internal affairs investigation that was launched against Mr. Devine.
We looked into where the,
Investigated by John Bonney. Investigated by John Bonney.
yes, the lieutenant looked into, he was the shift commander of the day shift, looked into what had happened with the incident and what it was about.
Who was John Bonney?
He was a lieutenant.
Lieutenant. So did that lieutenant, to your knowledge, start an internal investigation with regard to this incident?
I asked him to look into it, yes.
Okay, you asked him to look into it. Now you remember. So now, Mr. Devine's daughter, 8-year-old daughter, draws on crayons in her office, writes the word revenge, and you conduct an internal investigation targeted at Robert Devine, correct?
I believe it was left in someone's mailbox.
It was left in someone's mailbox.
I believe that's the case, but
There was a
again, I have not read that case in a number of years.
And the investigation found no fault at all on the part of Mr. Devine, right?
Again, I haven't read that in a number of years. I don't believe there was any.
But they wanted to prosecute his 8-year-old daughter, didn't you?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that the department wanted to prosecute his 8-year-old daughter at the request of the home.
I'm going to be highly skeptical that anybody is wanting to prosecute anyone's 8-year-old daughter. I don't know what the specific cutoff age is in Massachusetts for competency to be tried. Minors generally, there's like a point in pretty much every state where, like, you don't try an infant if the infant, I don't know, reaches out and like bats you. It's a freaking infant. So 8 is like about as low at an age for capacity to be criminally prosecuted as there is in any jurisdiction in the United States. And it's going to be for, egregious stuff, egregious psychopathic type of stuff, not somebody put a crayon drawing in somebody's mailbox. I mean, he better be able to bring some goods to show me that somebody wanted to criminally prosecute an 8-year-old girl over some crayons, or I'm going to have a hard time buying that. I'm going to be inclined to think that's a gross exaggeration, if not an outright lie.
Objection. I have to answer it.
No, you can answer it.
I don't recall prosecuting in
Wait.
court.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do
No, I don't think so.
you recall that his 8-year-old daughter was given a trespass notice saying that she couldn't come near the police station?
Yes, I do recall that.
She trespassed. Who issued the trespass notice to Mr. Devine's daughter, 8-year-old daughter?
I believe it was Lieutenant Bonnie, but it may have been me that said she wasn't allowed in the station without my authorization.
Who was the driving force for this investigation? Who claimed that Mr. Devine had done something wrong?
I mean, if I don't know what the kid is doing in the police department anyway, like this is not daycare, you know, you don't really belong there. But if the child is writing revenge fantasy notes and putting them in somebody's mailbox, it's kind of, yeah, I mean, all the more reason why maybe the child shouldn't be allowed there. I hope we're going to get some more context for this, because she wrote the word revenge on a piece of paper in crayon. Is that all she wrote? Why did she write that? Whose mailbox did she put that in? Was it Holmes? Is that the whole deal? She wrote a revenge note to Mr. Holmes. Is this guy blaming the crayon note on his daughter? I mean, this whole thing is a little bit bizarre. I hope we get to learn a little bit more about this, because it so far it just sounds sketch, and he's like trying really hard to make it sound like like they were just looking for some reason to go after Robert Devine, and if they couldn't go after Robert Devine, they would go after his daughter. But what it sounds like to me is that somebody was clearly causing a problem there, revenge, threatening revenge potentially, and it's either like an extremely badly behaved child that doesn't belong in that environment anyway, making threats. You need to like discipline children to not do that type of thing. Or what seems maybe more likely to me is it was Mr. Devine that did it and then blamed his daughter. And so, okay, to nip that in the bud, we'll just take your word for it. Your daughter ain't going to be around here anymore. Therefore, we better not see no more notes. Something like that, maybe. What a weird what a weird thing to be bringing up. I don't know where this is going to go.
Brian Holmes.
Brian Holmes.
It was Brian Holmes.
So, do you think there was an animus between Brian Holmes?
Yes, but when did this happen? The incident, approximately.
I'm going from memory. I believe it's while I was the acting chief. It was earlier 2016, maybe. And at the time, Deputy Chief Holmes was would have been a sergeant.
And you just testified that a few minutes ago that when you realize there's a conflict of interest doing an investigation, you should remove yourself from that investigation, right?
Yes.
Would you believe that an animus created against Mr. Devine's daughter and his family in an investigation would create bias on the behalf of Mr. Holmes?
I believe that there was an incident that took place, and he made a complaint about the letter, and it was left in his mailbox.
do you believe that shows some sort of evidence of a bias by Mr. Holmes against Mr. Devine?
This seems to be getting a little bit complicated. I'm having a hard time following the timeline because if I understand correctly, Devine had already had the discipline, right? This is 2016. He was disciplined in 2015. So something happens after the fact about revenge. Wonder who could be pissy about that. So how would this incident after the fact bias him the year earlier when the investigation was going on? Is that really where we're going here? I'm maybe a little bit confused about the timeline here. Or was it Holmes that did the 2021 investigation? Did somebody else do the 2015 investigation? Is this supposed to be that Holmes was biased in 2021 because of this incident with the daughter and the revenge and so forth? Because Holmes decides you're a sack of shit, cheats on his wife. I don't want to be friends with you. Do you not get to do that at the police department? If you don't get to do that at the police department, really says a lot about that thin blue line, doesn't it? You don't even get to like not be friends with them when they engage in behavior that you consider immoral and that you disapprove of. He made a complaint because somebody left a note about revenge in his mailbox. And the child was told not to come back to the station. And apparently the whole thing was resolved that way. And then 4 years later, 5 years later, he's biased. That's where they're going with this? Yeah, let's see what else they got.
I do not.
All right. Do you know that in his IA report, Mr. Holmes referred to Mr. Devine as a misogynist?
He referred to Mr. Devine as a misogynist. Okay, that's a characterization. The question is simply, is that a fair characterization or not? In and of itself, calling Mr. Devine a misogynist might be biased, might be neutral, might be generous. Depends on what you saw that led you to think this guy is kind of misogynistic. Are we going to open that door at this hearing? Should we talk about why? Why did Mr. Holmes think he was misogynistic? Is that going to help rehabilitate his public image? I don't know. I don't know about this strategy.
I believe he did, yes.
He did.
I believe that was in reference to the 2015 investigation.
Is forming that opinion, is that what a neutral person should do when setting forth the facts in an internal affairs investigation?
If it's
I
justified,
believe he was referring to what was described in that investigation. I will have to look at that page if you would like me to.
Well, so I'm just confused. The use of the word misogynist was in which internal affairs, 2015 or the later one?
It was written in the later one, referencing the 2015 investigation, I believe.
Thank you. Just have it.
That was part of the 2015 investigation. Mr. Devine, I believe, raised it. Came to an agreement with the town of Stoughton regarding his culpability or responsibility for his acts. Right? Page 632.
You said page 632.
632.
Can you refer to something, sir?
Yeah, sure. Refer to page 632.
I'm not sure what happens
And
with
that's
this
in the
format here. Something weird's going on.
Yeah, the very part. All the individuals.
That's 900.
It's Division Exhibit 3.
Like, I'm pretty sure we already established multiple times there was an agreement with
So,
Stoughton
do you have page 632?
to resolve that complaint.
Okay, I want you to look at 632, 633, 632 and 634. Is that the memorandum of agreement between the town of Stoughton and Robert Devine relative to the 2015 Internal Affairs investigation?
Yes.
I want you to turn to page 634. Paragraph 6.
Something that we don't get to
Yes.
hear about for some reason.
And you read, who released this record?
Objection.
Well,
Who gave you authority to present this record, or to look at this record as part of the internal investigation report, given this agreement?
Objection.
what's the objection?
So there's no relevance to it.
No, I'll allow it. But I'm not clear on the question. Release it to whom?
Well, this is part that you've now released this file in this agreement in the internal affairs investigation report, correct? From 2021.
There's been requests, yes,
Yeah, you
for
released.
personnel files and internal affairs files.
So you released, it, right? It's out in the file.
Oh, it has an NDA.
Objection. That doesn't have any relevance to this one.
I think that's what he's getting at. We didn't get to hear, but I think that's what he's saying is that there was an NDA as part of this memorandum of agreement. And so it wouldn't be made public. It would be swept under the rug. They would do something about it, but none of us would ever know. That's really what it sounds like. So why are you releasing it if there's an NDA? That's what I am reading into this line of questioning here.
I think that I'm going to allow it. It may go to the argument about bias, and I'll allow the witness to answer that question. Did you at some point release this to somebody?
It was released to post.
Right.
In a number of, when public records laws changed with regards to internal affairs files, there was a discussion with regards to town council, what gets released, and everything that was released on the public records, it was done through council for the town.
And was this part of what was ultimately released because of changes in the public records law?
I believe so. I would have to look at all the documents that we've released over the years.
And was that before the 2021 investigation or later?
Oh, no, it was later, so later.
So, the supervisor of public records give you permission to release it?
There's been various appeals for records that have been sought, and we've turned things over and responded to anything through public records. And if we've denied things, we get supervisor records. There's appeals there, and we respond to those.
Did your department get permission to release this?
No,
Now, Mr. Devine with this agreement, agreed to discipline in certain claims, he owned up to his responsibilities in the 2015 matter, right?
He settled an agreement with the town manager and the appointing authority. Yes.
And that's why he came in, right? He did it control.
As a result of the agreement, yes.
The town let him back in, right? They wanted him back.
The appointing authority, yes, agreed to an agreement.
So it wasn't your choice to have him back, but it was the appointing authority's choice to bring him back. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did they have a meeting or a hearing where people try to voice their opinion whether or not Mr. Devine should be brought back to the department?
Not sure what you're referring to, sir.
Do you recall that there was a role taken within the department whether or not they thought that Mr. Devine should return to the department? That is, the officers in the department try to decide amongst themselves.
Not that I remember now.
Now,
Poll? Is he suggesting they were polled?
did you review the internal investigations report before you, before it was signed by Officer Devine? I'm sorry, Officer Holmes. Did you review it?
Yes, I did.
And in it, it references statements that were made by Mr. Devine, right?
I believe so.
And those statements were recorded, right?
What, I don't know what you're referring to. What,
Well, Mr. Devine gave a statement, and then you try to schedule a second statement, and it didn't pan out, right?
as far as an interview?
Yeah, interview.
Okay.
Interview, I'm sorry, I used the word interview, statement. Interview. He gave an interview,
Yes,
and that interview was recorded.
yes,
And there's a transcript.
yes.
There's no transcript that was provided to us in the IA report. Do you know why Mr. Devine wasn't provided a copy of his own statement?
I do not.
Objection.
I'm sorry?
Objection.
And that forms a statement.
Yeah, it's not
Did
in
you ever
evidence.
provide the post commission with a copy of Mr. Devine's statement?
I did not provide the boost, initially, all the items in this.
And you've never provided Mr. Devine a copy of his own statement, have you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And the copy of Mr. Devine's statement is not incorporated in the AI report, correct?
Do you mean the IA report?
Yeah, IA report from 2021.
I don't know if it's in there or not. I've not looked at all the exhibits. And look at them, if you'd like me to.
Why have? They're not there.
Objection.
That's why I'm asking.
We don't need you to testify. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. And
But to save me the trouble of looking through it, do you have a position on that, whether it's in there or not?
We don't have a copy of the transcript.
Okay, so it's not in the IA report.
correct.
Okay.
And you're aware that many statements were taken as part of the AI investigation. I keep saying it. IA investigation by officer, Time Detective Holmes, right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
There were many statements taken, right?
There were a number of interviews conducted, yes.
Page 44, page 44.
Just to help me during this process, is this from Exhibit 2 as well?
Yes, it's number 40, page 44 in your documents.
It's Exhibit 1.
Part of Exhibit 1. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Thank you.
Do you have that page now?
Yes, I do, sir.
And in the middle of that page is a name.
Yes.
And it says,
Some stuff we don't get
is
to
that right
see.
so far?
Yes.
Did you take a recorded statement from this? Did your department take a recorded statement as part of this IA investigation from this?
That page refers to the I is Deputy Chief Holmes.
Did you ever give the post commission a copy of that transcript?
I do not know.
Do you know that there's no transcript attached to the IA report from a Miss?
I do not know that.
And in fact, Miss, well, I'll ask to take the phones about that later. We turn to the next page, 45. Exhibit 1. Her interview was conducted as well, is that correct?
Yes,
And a transcript was made for her?
I do not know if all the transcripts are in there.
Well, would the transcripts have been made for each one of these witnesses?
That would be a question for Deputy Chief Holmes.
Okay,
Chief Holmes.
because there are many witnesses in, strike that. When you reviewed this IA report, did you have any concern that there were many witness statements, but there weren't transcripts of their statements included in the IA report?
I was not concerned with, no.
Did you read every single page of the 488 pages, I think it is?
I've read the majority of it.
The majority.
She didn't read it. Let's just say it how it is. She didn't read it. She probably like thumbed through it. She didn't read it. She didn't read it. She's heard about it. She's been briefed on it, but she didn't read it. That's why she doesn't know anything about it. I'm just going to put that out there. Read a majority of it? No, you didn't. I don't think you did.
Now, prior to Mr. Devine giving his statements to the investigator in this case, was he required to, or asked to sign any documents?
I believe he was.
I get page 1402. It's, Respondents exhibit 12. Respondents exhibit 12. No, I'm sorry.
Is it exhibit 16?
Yes, I'm sorry. You're exhibit 16. Did I do it all? Yes, I'm sorry.
I guess this format is when they pull up the Elmo, but we don't get to see the
I'm sorry.
Elmo.
I wrote it down. And the first document, there are a few here, is a subject interview preface. Did I read that correctly?
On 1402, it says respondent exhibit 16.
Oh, yeah, go to the next page.
Okay.
1403.
Subject interview preface. 1403.
Yes. What is that?
Can I ask you to keep your voice up a little bit? You know, these are old tired ears on my head. So
Yes, sir. Sorry.
thank you.
Bunch of stuff we don't get to hear.
Did you provide a copy of the one for Mr. Devine to the Post Commission?
Provide a copy of what are you
The
referring
one
to?
that involves Mr. Devine. This is a form that would be filled out to him. Is that correct? Would this be filled out to him? Or is this, how is this particular document?
I wasn't present during the interview. I can't answer that.
Are you familiar with the procedures to conduct an internal investigation?
Yes.
As part of the procedure, would that document have been filled out?
The wine garden, and if it was a criminal investigation, yes. You read Miranda rights.
It's here. Okay, so Miranda rights. Why don't we go to 1404, page 1404? Can you please tell me what that document is?
1404.
1404. Is that right? Yes.
They
Now,
got
this is the Fifth Amendment waiver, correct?
Yes.
Where is Mr. Devine's Fifth Amendment waiver?
If it's not in the initial investigative report, I don't know. I didn't conduct the interviews.
It's not exhibit number 1. And do you know if the post commission ever received a copy of his Fifth Amendment invocation or his rights that he might have signed?
Objection.
Well, if she knows, you can answer that. Are you aware whether the post commission received a document like this?
I am not aware.
And as an officer for over 20 years, you know that if someone invokes their Fifth Amendment right, no negative inference can be drawn from that. Is that correct?
In a criminal case, in civil cases, invoking your Fifth Amendment rights can very much be used against you.
That's correct.
But when Mr. Devine resigned in his resignation, and it appeared that he didn't cooperate anymore, Sergeant Detective Holmes drew a negative inference from him remaining silent.
You're allowed to do that. If it's not a criminal case, if you're talking about something civil like keeping your job or discipline, you are allowed to draw negative inferences from remaining silent. Frankly, even in the criminal context, there's so many exceptions to it. Pre-Miranda versus post-Miranda silence, right? Miranda is only required if there's a custodial interrogation that's happening. So if you're not in a custodial type of setting, like, you know, you're just being interviewed at your desk about something, there's not the formality associated with being under arrest. You're not handcuffed. You're not in an interrogation room. You're free to leave. There's no Miranda that's required. And pre-Miranda invocations of the right to silence can be used against you, even in a criminal case. Isn't that crazy? It's like they say you have a right. It's like written right there in the Constitution. And then there's this massive body of case law that emerges and develops over decades to like chip away at it to the point where you don't actually have that right anymore. We see it with the Fourth Amendment. See it with the First Amendment, right of access to the criminal trials. Yeah, you get to use that against him. That's not improper. You're allowed to do that. She's not a lawyer, she's a cop. So I don't know why it matters what she thinks about that or why this is even kind of being allowed as a line of questioning. That's a legal issue. Is that improper for him to do that or not? My view, it's not. No, he's not being criminally prosecuted. So you can use it against him.
Is that correct?
Are we referring to that, sir?
Well, you've just testified that the negative inference shouldn't be drawn with someone remaining silent, right?
Why is there no
When
objection here?
When Officer Devine resigned from his employment, he wasn't essentially cooperating with the department anymore, right?
Yes.
And was it negative? Should a negative inference been drawn from him not cooperating and remaining silent?
I don't know that you just asked me if Deputy Chief did that. I don't know. I can't answer.
Exhibit 1, page 63. Last line.
If I'm the commission
page
lawyer
63.
here, I'm just objecting all over to this. This is legal opinion. It's not up to
Did I
her
read
to
that correctly?
decide.
Yes, you did.
Should a negative inference been drawn from Mr. Devine because he resigned? He didn't say anything anymore?
You're referring to the Fifth Amendment rights.
Yeah.
This was an internal affairs investigation.
Yes. This is not a Fifth Amendment invocation. And resigning from your job so that you don't have to provide information relating to your internal affairs investigation. Yeah, that's that's a consciousness of guilt kind of thing. I kind of think they get to hold that against you. You get to do it. They can't literally like tie you down to a chair and give you truth serum and force you to speak. They can't do that. You can choose to be silent, but they can hold it against you. Just not if you're being criminally prosecuted. Is there criminal stuff at issue here? Is he in jeopardy of criminal consequences such that a Fifth Amendment waiver would be, or a Fifth Amendment invocation would be appropriate and enforceable? You don't get to invoke the Fifth just because you don't want to answer a question. It has to be something that would actually put you in jeopardy of criminal consequences. Is that the implication here? He quit to avoid having to disclose criminal behavior? I don't have a problem with them holding that against him. I think, you know, if you're trying to hide your criminal behavior, you probably shouldn't be a cop. And they should very much be allowed to draw that inference. Is this crazy town? I don't know why this commission lawyer is not objecting. If this is me, I'm objecting all over to this. This is legal conclusion stuff. She's a cop. It's not her job to know. That's for a judge to decide, is it appropriate or is it not appropriate? And yeah, there's abundant case law to the effect that in a civil proceeding, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. They can hold it against you.
He was supposed to sign the Fifth Amendment document, right? That's what we just were discussing.
If he was invoking his rights, but he was being investigated for an internal affairs investigation.
Okay.
Policy violation.
So, and in fact, Mr. Devine didn't resign, he retired. Right?
I believe the resignation says resignation to retire, but I have not read that recently.
Copy go back to 1404. Is it 16? Sorry, let's go to the next page, which is 1405.
Is this maybe one of those deals where he cashes in all of his accrued leave and just doesn't go to work until it's time for him to retire? Is that what I don't know.
Page 1405. Which,
Do you have a question?
yes, you know what that document is?
Yes, sir. It says Weingarten rights, employees' right to union representation.
Do you know if a union representative was present when Mr. Devine gave his state?
I believe it was an attorney from the union.
I'll go to the next page, which is 1406. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize the document?
Garrity warning form.
What is Garrity warning?
I'm sorry.
What is Garrity warning?
Would you like me to read it?
Sure.
Yes, we don't get to see that either.
Do you want me to continue?
No.
Gary,
Garrity warning basically says if you speak to us, we can't use what you say against you in a criminal proceeding. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Where is the one Mr. Devine sent?
I don't know.
Did you provide it to the post commission?
I'm not sure.
is Mr. Devine being charged with a crime somewhere that I'm not aware of, that we haven't heard about? Because this is not a criminal proceeding, you might have noticed. This is an administrative process. I'm really annoyed. I'm very annoyed by the line of questioning and by the lack of objection to it. I feel like I should just take it as a given then that what he's saying is that, I don't know, is there some kind of admission of criminal conduct here?
And the last of those documents That exhibit 1407. Do you know the purpose of this particular witness interview preface?
Yes,
What's the purpose of it?
given to the witness in an investigation. During an internal affairs investigation.
And was the copy of the one used with Mr. Devine ever provided to the Post Commission, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, I do not know.
When you read the IA report, did you look to see if the Deputy Holmes was doing his job correctly?
When I read the internal affairs executive summary,
Yes.
We've gotten from she read the report to she read the majority of the report to now she read the executive summary. And somehow I suspect that is the most truthful answer she's given about the report so far. Yeah, she probably read the executive summary. That's why you do an executive summary, so that they can just read that part. And then, you know, all the fleshing out and the details and the why you reach this conclusion and so forth. And the supporting evidence, you know, and this went this way and this went this other way, but I decided this was credible. So I decided that. They don't have to follow you through that whole morass. They can just know what the takeaway was. It's there in the executive summary. That's what she read.
I read
The whole
yes,
internal affairs report.
the entire, it was all not done in one day, so.
When you
Now it's not in one day. No, she didn't read the whole report in one day. Honey, look, you just didn't read it. We know you didn't read it. We know you read the executive summary and called it good. Okay? We know.
read through it, were you looking to just see if it was complete, or did you look through it to see that whether or not Officer Holmes had been in the mistakes?
I was reading through the document. It's a voluminous document, sir.
And you'll agree with me that the document is predominantly involves William Farwell and Matthew Farwell. Correct?
The majority of it, I believe, is Matthew Farwell.
Now, after Mr. Devine's first statement, you tried to schedule a second statement. Is that correct?
I did not, but
Did you have any exchange with him? I'm sorry.
investigators did, yes.
Did you get involved in any of the scheduling or talk to Mr. Devine or email Mr. Devine or have any type of communication with him regarding the scheduling?
Did I know?
And you do understand, however, that a statement, a second interview, I keep calling statements, sorry. A second interview was not conducted, but that Officer Devine was given a whole bunch of questions.
Yes, that was, I believe, referenced
Questions?
in his letter that he sent during it when he resigned.
And that is part of the record, right?
Again, I believe so, but I would have to look through it.
And he answered all the questions. Did you review the questions you sent? The answers he sent?
I'd have to look at it, sir.
Sorry, Judge, it's Exhibit 19 within Exhibit 1.
So I'm hearing he answered the question
Do you need page 19?
in his resignation letter.
This is why I didn't.
Oh, okay.
You could get some from that.
Yes. It is over 250.
It'll be. Emma?
Yes, sir.
And if you turn to page, first page is our postage. You turn to page 254. That's Mr. Devine's response. And his response goes all the way to the next exhibit, which is exhibit 20. His response is quite extensive. And at that point, Mr. Devine had an interview, and he was given some knowledge that it had to do with some internet problems or some internet thing that was going on. Is that fair to say?
Again,
I
don't know the contents of the questions with regards to
Well,
the.
did you talk to Sergeant Detective Holmes about what questions Mr. Devine
Why don't
was
you
asked
just
and what
ask
his position
Holmes?
was on the investigation?
Deputy Chief Holmes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, on this page 300. No. It's last year. 300. Went out. One more. Keep going. I'm trying to page up. 305. I'm sorry, ma'am.
I wasn't part of drafting the questions. For Officer Devine.
Want you to turn to page 305. You recognize page 305?
It's been a long time since I've seen it, yes.
What's the date on 305?
August 18, 2022.
Okay, so on August 18, 2022, Robert Devine was asked these questions after he didn't sit down for his second interview. Is that fair to say?
He was sent this document?
Yes, sir. By the author on page 307, which is Deputy Chief Holmes. Right?
Yes.
And if we look back at, and these are the questions he wanted answered, right? Now, if we look back at page 250, $251, it's the postage, right?
That's what's in the book. Yes, sir.
So on August 24 of 2022, Mr. Devine had answered the questions, put together a package for the department, and submitted it to the departments, right?
Is there, I'm not seeing a date.
Oh, that's fine. Is it you got the postage, the black page
The
postage?
postmark? Good Lord.
Yes, sir.
So what day did he resign?
This would be 251, page 251, or page 252.
I don't see it in this page that I'm looking
Well,
at.
do you have a page with postage on it?
Yes.
Okay. You see this? You see the date?
The word amount is cut off on this form.
Oh, it is?
It might have been cut off when you're printing. It's also displayed up
Oh, it's right there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
See it? Oh,
Cops are trained to be observant, aren't they?
right?
Yes.
So he was sent a letter on August 18 of 2022, and within 6 days, he responded with about 50 pages of documents and an explanation to each question asked. Is that correct?
If you say there's 50 pages, I don't.
Well, roughly 50 pages. It goes from 250 to 305.
250, okay.
55 pages. It's only 5 pages is postage and.
I bet this is the kind of guy who would have 50 pages of explanations.
Did you ever have a discussion with Sergeant Detective Holmes about how quickly Mr. Devine had responded to the questions?
No.
Did you ever discuss with Sergeant Detective Holmes the content of what Mr. Devine had provided?
No,
Mr. Devine was put on notice that there was a problem, some sort of internet issue going on. So you know, did you know that?
Mr. Devine,
Mr. Devine was put on notice on August 18 of 2022 on page 305. That's on page 305. So Mr. Devine was placed on notice that there was some sort of internet issue. And he responded with about 50 pages of problems he had on the internet that he'd been trying to fix for years. Do you know that?
I don't understand what you're trying to say, an internet issue.
Well, he was placed on notice. Okay,
I mean,
what is iMessage? What is iMessage? Do you know what iMessages are?
Yes,
Okay, how does someone send an iMessage?
if it's through Facebook,
Goes through the internet, right?
yes.
Snapchat. What's that?
It's an app you put on your phone, communicate with people.
Goes through the internet, right?
Yes,
WhatsApp. What's that?
it's another device and app that you can put on your phone and communicate.
Okay, he's not literally trying to say that these are all like just a singular internet problem, right? That messages from iMessage, Snapchat, and WhatsApp, okay, different apps, different, mechanisms. I don't know if iMessage is through the internet or if iMessage is through SMS. It might be both. I'm not quite clear on that. WhatsApp is connected to your phone number. Snapchat's just a random account. Like all of these are going to have separate accesses, logins, etc. And he's going to try to blame all this on an internet problem. Oof.
And Facebook. Facebook.
The same,
Social media websites.
social media website, yes.
So Mr. Devine was placed on notice on August 18, 2022, that there was a problem there was an issue involving this investigation that had to do with internet access or internet issues. Is that fair to say?
No, it's not.
I mean, there are questions that each specific questions about, and the question here, he was asked these questions.
My question is whether or not Mr. Devine was placed on notice that there was an issue involving
Why don't you have
internet
Mr.
matters,
Devine
such as
tell us?
Snapchat, WhatsApp, iMessage, Facebook, and the like. He was placed on notice. That's what that letter of August 18th. This is what we're looking for, right?
Yes, he was asked questions.
And he responded by giving some 50 pages of email messages, Facebook problems he's had to try to say, is this what you're looking for? Is that what he did?
That would be a question for Mr. Devine, if that's what he did. I don't know what he did.
Well, why don't you look at the records? Why don't you look at pages 250, 253, say, through 300 and tell us what your background
Some
training
kind of
experience
internet
leads those
issue. I can't believe
records to
that's
be.
where they're going to go with that.
Objection. The records speak for themselves.
Right, it's not what it appears to be, but you can look at the document, and say what it is.
I guess we don't get to see any documents.
You want her to read each of
Did
these?
you-
No. So these are, basically, just read a couple,
Okay.
and I'll ask you a question.
Some kind of internet issue.
Does it look like Mr. Devine was trying to help the investigation and give you all information he had regarding problems he was having with social media?
He provided these documents to the deputy chief. I don't know what his intent was.
And the deputy chief discounted that, didn't he?
I can't answer that question. I do not know that.
Within a day of receiving this, he made his decision within a couple of days.
Probably it's obvious bullshit. I'm just gonna guess that probably he was able to say, wow, these 50 pages of trying to claim that iMessages and Facebook messages and WhatsApp messages and Snapchat messages are all just some internet issue was bullshit. That probably didn't take him a whole lot of time to figure out. I don't really need to see a lot more to know that that's probably some bullshit. Okay? Because that's not just like one singular hack. You have to compromise multiple accounts, coordinate this activity across multiple accounts, and somehow he's not able to recover even a single one of those accounts. Yeah, I'm inclined to think this is some bullshit. This was his excuse. He got hacked, having some internet issue. No wonder they decided this guy was dishonest.
Did he make his decision? Do you want to? Just cover him.
Did you answer that question?
What date are you referring to?
We'll ask you a different question.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you just ask Holmes this stuff?
To your knowledge, the Detective Holmes ever follow up? Ever follow up with any investigation regarding the claims of Mr. Devine that he had internet problems in the past?
With regards to these documents, I do not know what he did for a follow-up.
Did you read Mr. Devine's response on approximately page 253? His written response. Did you ever read his written response?
Much later.
Much later.
Yeah. Meaning not on the date that you referenced, date 24.
He complained that he had problems with the internet. He didn't do not fix it, right?
I believe he does state that in his letter.
Now, I want to switch gears. Most of the questions regarding the internal affairs report should be directed towards Officer Holmes, right?
As far as the investigation?
Yeah.
Yes.
He did, right?
He along with the other investigators, yes.
Now, there have been, as your tenure at the office, there have been several complaints made against you by subordinates. Is that correct?
Complaints to me?
Well, complaints about you.
Okay.
The two of your lieutenants alleged that you and Deputy Holmes unfairly weaponized the internal affairs process against them. Do you remember that?
Objection. It's alleged.
That was alleged, correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Who were they?
I believe it would be Daniel McGowan and Daniel Carmichael.
At least two people filed lawsuits against the town due to these issues. One of them was Officer McGowan, correct?
Lieutenant McGowan?
Lieutenant McGowan.
Yes.
Just so I don't get confused, is the person making these allegations Lieutenant McGowan? Is that
Yes.
what we're saying? Okay.
And Lieutenant McGowan made allegations that you and Deputy Holmes had weaponized the internal affairs process against
Yes.
Do you recall if Lieutenant Boney testified about your discipline policy?
I don't know what the testimony you're referring to.
Lieutenant McGowan's public hearing? Do you recall that at all?
Yes.
I didn't understand the question, so would you repeat that?
There was a public hearing held for Lieutenant McGowan.
There was a public hearing with regards to an investigation and discipline. Yes.
And who was pushing that investigation?
who conducted that investigation with Deputy Chief Holmes.
And, Lieutenant Bonnie testified that as to the absurdity of the discipline that the department was requesting in that case. Is that correct?
Objection. We're getting outside of the scope of the hearing here.
I'll hear you on that. Why should I allow you to go down this road?
Well, Judge, she's made a recommendation as to the decertification of Mr. Devine. And if it's a pattern of the department to just make blanket recommendations, decertification, to harass employees, I think that should be shown that they have a bias or policy to go after officers when they shouldn't. As I've already said to you, Your Honor,
If you're making an offer of proof, is this allegations by McGowan the pattern you're talking about?
I'll withdraw it. I'll withdraw it. You can get some facts. I think the facts are more important to Your Honor.
Because he's not buying it anyway.
Now, we briefly spoke about Detective Matthew Farwell. And I believe that he's been charged with murder in this case, right? Not this case, I'm sorry, murder in the overall incident involving SB.
So, no, he's not.
Matthew Farwell?
He's not charged with murder.
Oh, what's he charged with?
He's under a federal indictment.
Yeah, it's a charge.
Killing a witness, I believe, is the charge.
That would be SB.
That's the indictment, yes.
That's murder, right?
Well, murder is a state crime.
Okay. Is it different? It's state, federal, it's different. It's killing somebody.
But the specific charge is different in different jurisdictions, sir.
You promoted him at one point, didn't you? You promoted him to detective.
Yes, I did.
When did you promote him to detective?
I don't have the exact date, but I believe it was in early 2017.
And when you promoted him to detective, that gave him the ability to have more freedom and motion and movement in the department. Is that correct? You go out and detect, I guess.
His assignment was 4 to 12. He was a detective.
He didn't have
Correct.
to sit. I'm sorry.
He worked 4 to 12.
4 to 12. What were his assigned duties, if any?
Whatever the detective sergeant assigned to him, as far as cases that he investigated.
So he would have less supervision than he would as a patrol officer or a desk officer. Is that correct?
Objection. What's the relevance to this hearing?
Yeah, I'm starting to get curious about that myself. Why is that relevant?
Well, Judge, she promoted a person in charge of murder. And again,
But she didn't promote him when he was charged with murder.
right. She promoted him. And this is a case of the department being under scrutiny by the press, the news media, the town, and these two officers, the chief and Deputy Holmes, are trying to cover their tails so they don't lose their jobs. And they're looking for scapegoats such as Mr. Devine to fit their agenda and fit their narrative.
Well, that was pretty explicit now, wasn't it? He didn't say that in his opening statement, probably because it wouldn't have landed well. Because Mr. Devine is the victim here, is not ultimately going to be probably very persuasive. But that's what it is, isn't it? They're trying to scapegoat him so they can save their own skins. I didn't really get the impression that the Stoughton Police Department is really the one in the hot seat over all of this, except to the extent that, their Explorer program seems to have been a problem. And, certainly their supervision, I guess, could have been a little bit better vis-a-vis interactions with the explorers and former explorers and what people are doing while on duty and so forth. But my view is that the real hot seat has been the Canton Police Department, the Massachusetts State Police, and the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, the same entities in that unholy alliance in the Karen Reed case that, conducted a cover-up investigation. Went to pin it on the girl. And then in this particular case, an officer is under suspicion, needing to be investigated. What do? Well, it's just a suicide. These text messages, all that stuff, didn't know. I don't feel like Stoughton Police was really in the primary hot seat here because they weren't the investigator. They're not the ones who said nothing happened to Sandra Birchmore that requires you to look any closer. They had no say in that. That was Canton and MSP in Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. But somehow this is all going to be about Robert Devine. He's the real victim in all of this. He's the victim of that first crazy woman who wouldn't leave him alone. I'll bet he was a victim of his wife, and that's what drove him to the first crazy woman in the first place. But he's a victim of her. Then he's a victim of Sandra Birchmore. Then he's a victim of whoever is causing him all these internet problems with like every single communication app that he has. Somehow it causes it to send messages that he didn't send. That's not him. This is like, honestly, extremely dumb psychopathy level stuff. It really is. This is such major bad excuse, blame shifting, perpetual victim territory. I don't know who this hearing officer is. I don't know if he's a lawyer. I don't know if he's a judge. I don't know if he's a cop. If he's spent any time in the criminal arena, criminal prosecution arena, particularly, this persona is going to be quite well known and familiar to him. Always has an explanation that makes him the victim. Do tell us more about how poor scapegoated Robert Devine is the real victim here.
And we believe this bias based upon this, they're trying to cover themselves. And by coming out that that is Chief McNamara promoted Mr. Farwell to give him more movement and freedom to do what he chose, may have led to the death of Mr. SB.
Why should she not have promoted him? Why don't we establish what she would have known in 2017 when Farwell was promoted? What did she know that should have cut against that? Because all the Sandra Birchmore stuff didn't come out until after she died. What was she supposed to know? How was she supposed to know it? I mean, you would think if part of the issue is that Matthew Farwell met this girl underage in the Explorer program and, groomed her and abused her, that if she didn't know about that, part of the reason why is because she didn't hear about it from the person who was in charge of the Explorers program, supervising Matthew Farwell, which would be Robert Devine. So this is just ridiculous to me. What was she even supposed to know about Matt Farwell in 2017? Your client should have known about Matt Farwell in 2017. He's the supervisor. He's at that nexus between Matt Farwell and the misconduct. He's right there. Why didn't he know?
So there's more bias. And see it, I think,
You've got it in the fact that she promoted him back in 2017. You can argue that from there. So I sustain the objection.
now,
Not
when
buying it.
Mr. Devine first returned to the job after the 2015 incident, I'm sorry, one day before he returned, his wife was stopped by one of your officers, right?
I don't know the date that she was stopped, but she was stopped by one of the patrol officers.
And she filed a complaint of harassment within the department, didn't she?
I believe she did, yes.
And even though your AI policy states that all complaints will be investigated, that was never investigated, was it?
I believe the sergeant on the midnight shift and looked into the complaint. I believe it was happening at 7 o'clock in the morning or something to that effect. Citation of moving violation.
And it was swept under the rug.
It was swept under the rug. Okay, so far, these cops sound extremely freaking whiny. I've heard more about cops making complaints about the cop stuff than I've heard about any sort of issue with like the public at large complaining about the cops. They only investigated these guys out of the Sandra Birchmore stuff because Fanning told them Farwell was implicated, and then that snowballed into having to look at William Farwell and having to look at Robert Devine. We haven't heard how this 2015 investigation came about. I don't know. I don't know, but you know, these guys, they sound pretty whiny. These police and police affiliated people, harassment for getting stopped for a traffic ticket. You hear that, they've heard that a million times. They've heard that so many times. And so what did they do? They looked at the basis for the stop and decided if there was any validity to it or not. That's how you investigate it. What did you stop her for? Speeding. Was she speeding? Yeah. How do you prove it? I don't know. How do you prove a speeding ticket in that jurisdiction? If they got it, then you're going to be done. So this is just some serious crybaby stuff he's trying to hang his hat on here.
I believe it was determined by the sergeant that it was an incident that took place, that she was pulled over, that there was no intent for bias.
Tell me, did you ever look at the internet post exchanges that are part of William Farwell, his exchange with SB and perhaps Officer Heels exchange with SB? Did you ever look at any of those?
Not recently. Have I ever? Yes, I've reviewed. I couldn't say what they say.
And did you review the specific ones where it's SB is talking with William Farwell? Did you look at those?
I've seen them in the past, yes. Word for word, I don't know what from memory.
In some of those exchanges that SB has, that we have, that the post is identified as exhibits, the issue comes up of Miss SB sending text messages to Rob. Do you know that? And
To Rob?
my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is the AI report contains over 50,000 pages of exchanges. And they are from the cell phone of SB. They are from her computer. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
So her cell phone record should be there, and her computer record should be there, right? Along with any photographs.
How they extracted and got the information, I'm not privy, not that I know what they did as far as the Mass State Police did, the ones that had the initial access to that.
So all of her information, her cell phone and her computer, they should all be here in the 50,000 plus pages of documents, right?
I don't know what, I don't know exactly what they provided as far as the Mass State Police to us from the extractions.
But your understanding
If it was
is,
everything or just,
I got one last question. What do you understand is the content of the extractions made by the state police?
it's from her cell phone that was, my understanding is that it was backed up from her MacBook.
So it would be all of her cell phone records and text messages, right?
It's my understanding that it came from the cell phone. What they extracted, I can't testify to that.
And all the information from her computer that might be social media or photographs, right?
Again, I'm not sure what device they got this off of.
But that's your understanding, that they collected everything, right?
It's my understanding. They're the ones that collected.
I have no more questions.
Okay, redirect.
Yes, please, Your Honor. When you were answering questions under Cross, is it fair to say you read part of the IA investigation where there was a negative inference due to retirement of Mr. Devine?
Yes,
Have you heard the term resigned or retired in lieu of discipline?
yes, I have.
What does that mean?
Believe it is a term that is used by post to resign prior to any discipline from a department.
So, Mr. Devine retired prior to the IA conclusion, correct?
Yes,
And so he was not disciplined for the IA, is that correct?
correct.
Jackson, since this is a form of discipline,
From the department, he was not disciplined, correct?
In that context,
He's not disciplined from the department. No.
There was also talk on Cross about who the appointing authority is that fair to say?
Yes,
Now, at the time of the 2015 discipline, the town manager was who entered into an agreement with Mr. Devine, is that correct?
yes,
Were you the chief at that time?
no.
Who was?
Paul Shaston?
Do you know what his recommendation for Mr. Devine's discipline was?
I believe it was termination, but I do not know that for a fact.
Now, you've known Mr. Devine for over 20 years now, is that fair to say?
Yes,
But when you address him personally, what do you call him?
Rob?
And you mentioned somebody named Robert Kuhn, who's also at the department, is that fair to say?
Yes,
What do you call him?
Bobby?
Do you ever call him Rob?
I never do know.
Can I ask that the witness be shown Divisions Exhibit 5? The date stamp is 7/38.
This sounds like this is going to the text to Rob. And I guess maybe because you can't call the text an internet problem, you gotta have some other explanation for them. So I guess the explanation is he's not Rob, Bobby is Rob. That's my
Now, is
takeaway.
it fair to say-
objection, seek the scope of Cross.
We're talking about confusion about Roberts, and I just want to
that's where I thought you're all out.
Can you see on the screen, Chief?
Yes,
Is it fair to say that this record states?
Objection, Sir Authenticator. The judge, we've already stipulated this is in evidence.
Well, there's been lots of things that were documents referred to. You can have her read it. What's the question exactly?
To your knowledge, was anyone else at the Stoughton Police Department named Robert admitted on that same date?
Objection.
I'm sorry.
No, to your knowledge, do you know whether anybody else?
I do not know anybody else on that date.
Nobody else named Robert, you're saying?
Correct, Robert.
And that date was before SP's death, is that correct?
Yes,
Now, you testified during Cross about Holmes disliking potential adultery, is that fair to say?
yes,
And that damaged the relationship personally between Devine and Holmes?
yes.
However, you testified on the direct that, to your knowledge, that did not impact them professionally, is that fair to say?
I believe that as time went on and Rob was working at the department, that they had discussions and repaired things for their personal relationship.
Can I ask now that the witness be directed to page 63 of Division's Exhibit 1? And can we go to the paragraph above the subheading second interview of Robert Devine? Chief, beginning the paragraph of Devine's history, can you read that sentence? Sorry, is that the statement that you recall about the misogyny of Mr. Devine?
Yes,
And it appears that Chief Holmes's statement is based upon both the 2021 investigation and the 2015 investigation. Is that fair to say?
that's my understanding, yes.
And both investigations involved sexual conduct of Mr. Devine outside of his marriage. Is that fair to say?
Objection.
Yeah, you're asking to say what's in Holmes's mind when he wrote that? I'm going to understand the objection unless I misunderstood the question.
Sorry, I asked what the statement in the report says
Right,
that the chief just read.
right. She acknowledged that's what it said, but you had a follow-up question.
Yes, the question was based on that statement, or based on the wording of the statement, is that opinion based on the two cases? It's based on the
At this point, I think the document speaks for itself.
You also testified about the change in the public records law. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
Is one of those changes that police misconduct records are no longer considered personnel records?
yes.
Now, in that agreement that you reviewed,
I'm sorry to interrupt, 'cause I didn't get this the first time. When did that law change?
I believe it was part of police reform. But I don't have a specific date, so I believe
Approximately, do you remember?
it's 2020.
Thank you.
Approximately 2020.
and can we now direct to page, I believe it's 633? Excuse me, 634. And specifically number 6. Can you read the first few words of that first sentence there?
Why did I know we weren't going to get to
So
hear
in
it?
other words, to the extent permitted by law would include the public records laws, correct?
Yes,
There was some discussion during your cross-examination of records that you, and whether you had provided them to post, is that correct?
yes,
Should the post commission request any of those records, would you be able to provide them?
yes,
And to your knowledge, were all the records relating to this IA investigation?
Before these questions, I'll be questions, Judge.
It's a redirect.
I understand. It overruled.
To your knowledge, did the police department retain all the records relating to this internal affairs investigation?
To my knowledge, yes.
Now, can we go to page 227?
So actually, I have a question. Are you saying, Chief, that there are records relating to the internal affairs investigation that are not part of the report and the large exhibit attached to that report?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. Are you saying that there are records in the internal affairs investigation that we're talking about that were not included in the final report or the exhibits attached to it?
I believe you asked me if I could, if there were the transcripts. I would ask the investigators to produce them.
No, I'm asking, do you know if such records exist, whether they be
I
the
do
forms that you were questioned about or transcripts or anything else that were not included, that were either purposely or for some other reason not included in the investigative report and the large exhibit attached to it?
I do not know if they exist.
And as to the ones that you've been questioned about, that is the waivers and the other forms and the transcripts that you've been asked about, have you seen those anywhere along the way?
I have not.
Next question.
Can we go to page 227 and look at the third full paragraph beginning, please? Can you read that, Chief? And this letter was sent to Mr. Devine after his retirement was effective. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Once he retired, can you order him to participate in an IA investigation?
No,
And during an IA investigation interview, is there an oath administered?
yes.
And is that just the officers or is it to civilian witnesses as well?
I believe it's just the officers.
So a civilian witness isn't sworn in the same way, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yes, that's correct.
And at that time, Mr. Devine was a civilian, correct?
Yes.
And then can we go to 223? And the second full paragraph, the last sentence,
Which paragraph, sir?
the second full paragraph. That's what Deputy Chief Holmes did with Mr. Devine, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Nothing further.
Okay.
And he responded timely. Mr. Devine responded timely to that request. Correct?
He did respond.
He
Asked and
responded. When the
answered.
request was due August 26th, he responded on August 22.
I wish I'd
We're
like
talking
her.
about the public records law.
I'd like her to just, I think I might have hit the wrong button there. I'd like her to just answer the question that has already been asked 1,000 times so that we don't have to get argumentative with this argumentative guy. Like, it would move a lot faster if you just stop being afraid of answering the question. And when he says he responded timely, you can just say within 6 days, yes.
How does the public records law change?
Public records law changed in that any discipline was no longer held confidential.
How about any confidential agreements? How did it affect the confidential agreement in this case, in the 2015 case?
On the advice of counsel, it was how we proceeded with the personnel file and the internal affairs.
Do you know the law?
The law says that is no longer confidential.
So you're saying that
Discipline is no longer confidential.
so you're saying that the confidential settlement agreement is no longer confidential.
So there we have it. You redacted that before, but now you just went ahead and told us they put an NDA in the memorandum of agreement that Devine signed with the town manager back in 2015. When instead of firing him like the deputy chief apparently wanted, or the acting chief, I lost track of who we were talking about at that point in time. Instead of firing him like that person recommended, they just did the demotion and 60-day suspension. And Yeah, kept all that secret. Kept all that secret. Now, so now, right, he's a victim again. He's a victim of her, the bad guy who disclosed the secret agreement. I mean, talk about sweeping it under the rug. Didn't you literally just talk about them sweeping stuff under the rug? What the hell do you think of NDA on your discipline settlement agreement? What exactly do you think that is? That is sweeping it under the rug. And the problem now is that they've started to tear up the carpet. And that's really what you have the issue with.
Objection asked and answered.
It's a slightly different way of asking it. You can answer that. Is that what you're saying?
It's my understanding, yes.
Have you seen them?
I even read it recently.
Now, you also testified that at some point you believe that Mr. Devine and Deputy Chief Holmes reconciled their differences.
Yes,
So you know that they had differences, didn't you?
I know that Brian didn't particularly care for Rob's actions with regards to the internal affairs investigation in 2015.
And despite that bias, you continue to let Sergeant Detective Holmes oversee an investigation involving Mr. Devine.
Objections.
Objection asked to the form. She didn't say bias.
It's sustained us to the.
Yep.
Use the word bias.
And you were trained that whenever a conflict of interest arises
Go around this again.
in an investigation, the officer must remove himself from that investigation. Is that correct?
Asked and answered.
Yes,
And when you realize, would you suggest that Officer Holmes, Sergeant Detective Holmes's feelings about Mr. Devine from the 2015 investigation created a conflict of interest?
my understanding was that there was no conflict of interest, that Brian Holmes, Deputy Chief Brian Holmes, had advocated for Rob at times in the department to participate in Oasis, to get involved in firearms licensing. They communicated and there was no concern with regards to them, and that there was any bias.
And actually, Detective Officer Mr. Devine actually started the Oasis program, the drug program, right?
That is, he's one of the founding members, correct?
Yeah,
I have
leave
no
it there.
questions.
Yeah, leave it there.
Thank you, Chief. Your excuse.
That's all you got. See, he was a good guy at one point. He started this Oasis program. Oh my goodness. Oh, hey there, Peter. Well. So that's the first part of the hearing. Okay. That was our first witness here. Donna McNamara, Chief of Police of the Stoughton Police Department. She's real cop through and through. Real cop through and through. Well, yeah, I'd say I got a flavor of how this is gonna go, where this is gonna go. What did we get? We got the trivializing the Sandra Birchmore stuff, the publicity around it. Imagine there being publicity about a girl being murdered after she was groomed by a bunch of police officers. And then the internet problems. He was having internet problems is apparently the explanation for why there are iMessages, Facebook messages, Snapchat messages, WhatsApp messages, and who knows what else messages between Devine and Sandra Birchmore. And he had 50 pages of explanation to back that up. Meanwhile, the other communications, the text with Rob, that's not really him. That's the other Robert, who, even though everybody else calls him Bobby, he was Rob for that purpose. Yeah, man, denial runs deep. Denial runs deep. And he's never going to admit what he did. I mean, if you'll come up with explanations this ridiculous, there's really no excuse you wouldn't try. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets caught red-handed, in the middle of a contradiction and what's his explanation? Maybe he was possessed. He was possessed by demons. It wasn't him that said that contradictory thing before. I mean, this guy will say anything. He will shift the blame to anybody. Now he's blaming the other Bobby in the department. Yeah, I wouldn't expect Bobby to have your back at this point. You're trying to throw him under the bus for your bullshit. But he's the victim in all of it. He's the victim of these women, these persistent women who are just too attracted to him and won't leave him alone. He's the victim of the hacker. He's the victim of the mean police chief and Holmes, who put a target on him. They're scapegoating him. This poor guy, doesn't it about pull at your heartstrings? Yeah, it doesn't mind. It doesn't mind. It's just already a preview of the kind of entitlement. It does not belong in a uniform with a badge, with authority, with public trust. Mm-mm. So that's just one witness, guys. We'll come back to take a look at the next one. I got to imagine we're going to hear from Brian Holmes. So I'm not sure what the order of the witnesses is. I got to do a shout out, of course, to the trial channel, whose clip we're watching. I saw that not only did they kind of break it up into manageable pieces, but also did some enhancement with the sound, which I very much appreciated because the sound was terrible even as it was. So yeah, not looking real favorable in my eyes from Mr. Devine. But from a technical standpoint, we can see the heartstrings, kind of ploy, the poor me ploy. But the actual technical defense here is seemingly going to be procedural, that these IA investigations were somehow flawed, particularly the 2021 one. And therefore, if you can't show the repeated misconduct, then there's no justification for decertifying him. So they're going to try to lean on this idea of bias. Not seeing good evidence for that so far, but maybe we'll get more when Holmes testifies, assuming he testifies. Some concerns raised, I guess, about documentation not being submitted with the report. I don't know what the norm is. I'd be shocked if it's the norm to include every single piece of documentation as an exhibit to a report. I mean, the whole point is that you include the stuff that's, highly relevant. And things like interview transcripts, they're just generally not going to be. You can quote them in the report, but I don't know that you would submit an entire transcript. What if you just need like one sentence out of that entire interview? Are you going to submit an 80-page transcript? I don't think that would be normal. You have it so that it's needed, but it doesn't have to be included as long as you have the ability to back up the quote, the attribution. But they're going to try to pick it apart on those types of procedural grounds, and I guess use that to try to show this is how he was biased. He left out stuff that was favorable. I haven't heard anything so far that sounds favorable. You're talking about Fifth Amendment stuff. That's not favorable. That's not favorable. Okay. That's implying there's criminal culpability here. So I don't know where this is going to go, guys, but I am intrigued. I am intrigued. So we'll see if we get to learn a little bit more, and hopefully this guy, this defense lawyer, won't continue to be quite so aggravating. But I suspect that might be asking a bit much. So anyway, guys, interesting stuff. Thanks for checking in. We'll see you on the next one.